Had to do a little bit of research on this record that's coming up at number 39. It's up one notch from number 40. I had forgotten all about this record. This was another one that Night Tracks played back in the summer of 1984. Fancy playlist from the week of June the 11th, 1984. Number 39. Fire Incorporated. Tonight is what it means to be young is the name of the tune. I wrote the title down wrong. I put down Tonight is what it means to be in love, but I think it's what it means to be young. I don't even know where to start with this. Well, first off, this song has several layers to it. The research on this record has just taken me to places where I didn't expect to go. Here's the deal. This song is from a movie called Streets of Fire, and it's supposed to have been a blockbuster. It wasn't. I'll go into that in just a minute. Streets of Fire is a film about a soldier of fortune who comes back home and he rescues his ex-girlfriend because she was kidnapped by a biker gang or leader of a biker gang. Now the ex-girlfriend is played by a woman named Ellen Aim, and the soundtrack to it was killer though. The Fire Incorporated was a powerful song. They had 2 songs off this album, but the biggest hit off the Streets of Fire soundtrack, I Could Dream About You by Dan Hartman. Huge hit in summer 1984. I don't think yes, as a matter of fact, I got it on my fantasy playlist. It's coming up on my fantasy playlist. Dan Hartman. 5 songs on this album was produced by a guy named, and I can't pronounce his last name. I've run into his name time and time again when I read about producers. His name is Jimmy Iovine. It's Iovine. He produced 5 songs off of this album, this soundtrack, and what he did on this record that I'm going to play for you tonight is what it means to be young. For Ellen Ames' singing voice, what he did, he combined the voices of Laurie Sargent and Holly Sherwood and dubbed them Fire Incorporated, these 2 women. Now, I want to mention something about Holly Sherwood. This song sounds like a Jim Steinman production. I'm not sure if he produced it, but this has just got all the bells and whistles of a Jim Steinman production. Holly Sherwood sang backup on Total Eclipse of the Heart, and that was a Jim Steinman production. And I also think she did some work on Bat Out of Hell. She's best known for her work with Jim Steinman, the producer, big producer back in the 70s, late 70s going into the early 80s. And now, as far as the movie, it's supposed to have been a success. It looked like it was going to be a success. The plot line looked pretty good, but it only made $8 million. That sounds like a lot of money, particularly in 1984, but it took over $14 million to produce this movie. So this movie was a loss. It operated at a loss. They lost $6 million, around $6 million off this movie. But it brought us some great music. My goodness, Dan Hartman's I Could Dream About You, and Fire Incorporated Tonight is what it means to be young. And here it is at number 39 on my fantasy playlist, June the 11th, 1984.